So the professor that I had worked with in my research lab has very strong academic ties with a variety of companies, including a research lab at Microsoft that kind of like does research in the same field. And because and like with his connections, I was kind of able to like leverage that, and I got connected with the head of that research lab at Microsoft. And I kind of introduced myself and was like, if that I'm interested in a position, if they can kind of like help me pass my info to the hiring manager. And they agreed to do that. And getting your information in the hands of a hiring manager from another employee of a company is kind of almost treated as even stronger than a referral in certain cases. Because even with a referral, you're usually kind of like in an application process, there's a separate referral pipeline, and referrals are still very powerful. But if you actually have some employee that can kind of vouch for you or vouch for your abilities or directly kind of talk to the hiring manager of a particular role about it, then that can really kind of have your application be distinguished from the rest of the crowd and really kind of help you get that foot into their door. And that's fortunately what happened with me. I was able to get an interview because of that. For my application process, kind of similar to Jay's in terms of structure, I had one phone interview and 4 on-site interviews. But the process was, for my particular position, was a little bit more tailored because I was interviewing for the rotation program that I'm in, and because it was kind of an ML engineer role. Quite a few of the questions that were asked to me were related to my resume, my experiences with ML, why I took particular kinds of decisions I did, and of course the usual engineering components as well related to lead code and solving questions. In terms of like insights on the interviewing process and probably why I kind of got into the role, there were 2 things. First, there's the interviewing performance where it kind of is really about communicating your thought process. You don't necessarily need to perfectly solve a problem, but they kind of want to see that drive for being able to like dissect a problem and break down the problem into simpler chunks. And also being able to communicate your thought process and also being able to respond on the inputs of the interviewer to kind of approach towards a solution and trying to see if you have that kind of a mindset to take on a complex task and try to like break it down and communicate your thought process and kind of like showcase if you're a good person to work with. And the second interesting component that I experienced in my case is I was actually told that a lot of the people that they hire, let's say for these kinds of ML engineering roles or for the rotation program, they have seen a lot of people who were initially in engineering and then transitioned to data science. But my case was kind of the opposite. My academic background was actually in data science because I was a data science major, but I kind of made this decision to switch or transition to ML engineering from data science. And because of the background context that I had, thanks to my major, and with my particular motivations of wanting to be in the engineering side of data science and machine learning, they thought that I kind of had that interesting background. And having that context into my role could also be like an interesting addition. And they're also like very serious about like diversity and inclusion and having different kinds of people from different backgrounds sharing different kinds of ideas. And so that was also like a unique component about myself that I presume kind of caught on. And I would also like encourage other people to accordingly not want that you don't have to kind of necessarily fit into a box or a template of how to kind of like showcase your personal brand. Ultimately, like your brand and your set of experiences are kind of unique to you. And you can kind of weave a story around it based upon your personal interests and ambitions. And that can really kind of help you distinguish yourself from the rest of the crowd because you can showcase that you have an ability to think outside of the box and you have like, and that you have sound decision making into making the decisions that you did in terms of pursuing particular opportunities and things like that.
Yes, wow. Thank you so much, Avitia and Jace, for your amazing answers. There's so many great suggestions. I just took down a few. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And I did not know that like how the importance of like networking, especially for Avitia's case, how that your work at lab helped you to land your job. But yes, that sounds amazing. Thank you so much.